Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Benelux Cloud Adventures. My name is Nadim Mansour, and I'm a solution architect at AWS. Today, we have the pleasure to hear about Qonqord and to hear how they modernized their IT infrastructure on AWS. Today, I'm joined by Paul from Qonqord. Welcome, Paul.
Hi, Nadim. How you doing?
I'm good. Could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
I'm Paul Walker, and I'm the Chief Product Officer at Qonqord.
Thank you, Paul. Paul, I know that Qonqord's mission is to automate processes and orchestrate processes and to help customers perform better. Can you tell me how together with AWS you were able to achieve this?
So we've looked at doing microservice architecture. Our clients have very complex processes and complex workflows. And without shifting to a kind of microservice architecture and rapidly deploying and changing and tweaking tools, we wouldn't be able to service our clients in the way that we do. Previously, we were very monolithic orientated, kind of traditional, standard, large-scale bits of code. Clients change rapidly. And as they change rapidly, the tools and infrastructure that they use also needs to change. And so we need to be able to, in a position where we can change and adapt as quickly as they need. So microservices and building on AWS really services that for us.
Great. Can you tell me more about the journey? Where did you start? Why did you take the decision to move into microservices?
Sure. So I've been doing software development for far too many years. And traditionally, monolithic, large-scale pieces of code was the way to do it. And certainly when AWS came along, we've been using AWS for over a decade, the team simply built on top in the old way with a big monolith. And by shifting and educating them, I love Lego, and taking small things and building complex structures, and educating the team and showing how that they can break their code down into different pieces and build these complex structures while maintaining small pieces. Having the architects think about how to dissolve a workflow into common tool sets. When you look at clients, quite often, there are many pieces that are similar. And what you're trying to do is find what I call the golden nugget. What really makes that client different? And that's the piece that you need to do. But the common architecture, you need to make sure is resilient and scalable. And that's why we're kind of shifting to this microservices. Trying to maintain monoliths. Client wants to change, you go through the change process. It's very long, very arduous. The test processes just get bigger. And you can't maintain that in today's world. It's too costly, too time consuming. And so microservices for us have been able to allow us to deploy quicker, adapt to our clients' needs much quicker.
Saying that, all interesting things, can you share with us the impact or the results you got after implementing microservices?
Oh, absolutely. A tremendous difference. Previously, when trying to implement solutions for clients, we were talking months, in some cases years. Now, we've had some of our teams who have been able to take an idea, rapidly develop a POC within a week, deploy it within half an hour with CI/CD, or a client comes along and says, hey, can I have a look at this? And as soon as a consultant is kind of talking to clients, so, well, hang on, let us deploy a solution right now for you. Let us put it together right here, right now. And then within half an hour, that particular tool or service is deployed into a zone that they can start playing with. That really changes the kind of the dialogue between us and our clients.
Can you give us an example of one component that came out of this journey?
Sure. One example would be the rules engine. For each client, there's always complex problems to solve. We would produce a monolith piece of code, and inside that, we would build the client's logic and the client's rules. Next client comes along, you're doing the same thing, and there might be similar problems. You copy bits of code over and you're repeating this process. But then when the clients want change, it's a very slow, arduous process to change, test, deploy. So out of this, we kind of looked at this and said, well, let's dissolve things into a rules engine where we can break down the rules into little tiny pieces We can call upon other different services, one of which might be recognition, to add labels to images or facial recognition, or help us with where is the product so we can crop in a more intelligent way. And so by looking at how we served different clients, we then transform this into a single centralized service that we could configure. When a client came with a new problem, that we can just only have to add a small component rather than rewriting a new monolith.
Can you walk us through the architecture of the rules engine on AWS? How does it look like?
So at the front door, using CloudFront to accelerate, the first thing it hits is API Gateway. We then use a combination of Lambda and Secrets Manager for authentication. Once through that front door, the request gets placed on a queue. So we use SQS. Then what we have is a suite of Lambdas. So there's a first Lambda that will fire off, and dependent on the different rules, we will parallelize different Lambdas. So we're now, whereas previously we'd use on monoliths, it's on a server, it's only as good as the server. Now we can expand sideways our processing. We then gather the results of each of these Lambdas on a DynamoDB. And only once that's complete do we then package that up into a return that goes out. But in this, the Lambdas might use internal logic themselves, or they might fire off, as said earlier, onto things like Amazon recognition. So we use that. We've done transcriptions for videos. We take images. We work with retailers. So intelligent cropping of a product. Quite often retailers need to adapt quite quickly and say, well, at the moment, our images are one aspect ratio. And then the business decides they need to shift and they need to do another aspect ratio.
What's the benefit of setting up a complete or full serverless solution from an operation point of view?
Scale. Many of our clients do operate at scale. So for example, one of our clients ingests 50,000 images per day, every day, and lets us do code a lot quicker. Service clients, when they have peaks and troughs, we can hit those peaks running, and we're not thinking we have a server sitting in a corner that will creak at a given level. When we have those processes, cloud ops teams come in and say, oh, we need another server. It's going to take a week to spin up. With AWS and microservices, when we're using serverless technology, it scales automatically. We don't have to worry. We can concentrate on the next problem rather than solving, old problems.
Interesting to hear. Is there any lessons you would like to share with customers who are starting the journey on AWS or the journey of microservices and serverless?
Absolutely. AWS gives our development teams the chance to play, rapidly prototyping. Now, this could be trying to solve a client's problem, or it could be just something of interest. I strongly encourage our teams to have a play. There's always more than one way to solve a problem. And so rather than our teams kind of sitting and going, how can we do this, and trying to get the architecture right before they build it, so we'll try it, measure it. Now try again, measure it. We can use CloudWatch to capture the logs, look at the timings. We, also trying to bring sustainability and saying, well, how efficient can we make things? Because a lot of code can burn a lot of electricity. So AWS really gives you a chance to play, to experiment, and don't just sit there, dive in, have a play, join the tools together like Lego. And ultimately, if you can be better, you can help serve your clients better, like we do. We help our clients be better by making sure that we're continually improving ourselves.
Great. What's next for Qonqord? What's on the roadmap?
Well, AI is a big one, but we're looking at AI very, very carefully as a kind of an assistive technology, and how, where, and when we can use AI appropriately. We're also delivering a kind of SaaS solution and dashboarding. So those are kind of two key things on our roadmap. And this will allow clients to, again, more rapidly try out our tool sets. We have many different tools that can be conjoined in various different ways. So And as we begin, we have transformed quite a number of our old tool sets into serverless and microservice architecture. And as we do so, we'll be introducing them onto our SaaS platform so that more and more people can enjoy the great work that we do.
Thank you, Paul. I can't wait to work with you on those interesting projects. Thank you for your time and for sharing the experience.
No worries. It was good to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time.